First off, I watch your videos a lot, Sargon. I really appreciate your content. Hunter, I haven't heard of you before, but I will definitely check you out. Sorry, no offense.
Subscribe.
Yeah, you're getting lots of new subscribers here, don't you?
So I wanted to ask a question because earlier you said that The Economist, I believe it was, found that there is no Google search algorithmic bias against conservatives, but All Sides, which is a nonpartisan organization, found that it does indeed censor or at least filter to the extent of about 65% of political related search results are left-leaning and about half of the others are center. And not only does it have a left-leaning filter, but it also has a corporate filter, which means all of the corporate news like CNN, but also Fox News gets rated significantly above independent producers like yourself, which is what I prefer to watch. And an example of this, like YouTube, whenever I searched up Ukraine, I would have to dig through 80 or 90 videos before I would find one by, say, Tim Pool that had 300,000 views, and I would be scrolling past videos with 3,000 views from CBS News. Furthermore, like Google, when I Googled Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton pictures, the first image that popped up was a picture of 20 years ago of Donald Trump with Epstein, and they pushed all of the Bill Clinton ones to the bottom. So would you say that there is no bias against conservatives with respect to the algorithms, even though the executives themselves have espoused that they believe that it is their moral obligation to stop Trump in 2020?
Well, I would really like to see more about this study. I have not heard of the study. The one I was brought up from The Economist talks about, it actually went into what you mentioned on how certified syndicated news companies are put at the top of search results. I would have to see the study to give you a better answer. Again, I certainly think that bias can motivate decisions that'll negatively impact conservative content creators, but I don't think it's at the level that many make it out to seem. I don't think that it's a big conspiracy against all the conservatives to drown out their content. Kind of like, Sargon, you brought up earlier what Steven Crowder mentioned about the channel not coming up. The same thing was happening with my channel too at the time, and then like 3 days later it was back up and everyone's channel now comes up with their latest Yeah, but
content. That's because Steven Crowder actually got YouTube to change the way that it displays. It displays the top two videos, the latest two videos that come up because of Steven Crowder's evidence that they're actually censoring these things. I mean,
so they changed it because Steven Crowder complained about it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've complained about it before, and then it got fixed, and then it changed, and then it got fixed again. So if it's some kind of a censorship, it doesn't seem like it's.
I think it's more that it's very
impactful.
subtle. I mean, I don't know if anyone saw the Robert Epstein congressional testimony. He's a friend of Hillary Clinton, and he went to Congress and said, "Look, I'm here because I believe that Google is actually actively interfering in the democratic process." And by his estimation, by his calculations, funneled 2.5 million votes to Hillary just on the inherent bias of the algorithm itself. Because it's not necessarily that they're sat there going, right, Hunter Avallone censored, Sargon censored. But what it is, the way that it works is in line with leftist ideology. And so, like with Twitter banning people for misgendering, that's entirely political, There's no other way of looking at that because everyone else doesn't care about it. But the left say, well, everything's political, the person is political, and therefore you misgendering me is political, and people can lose their accounts over it. So I'm not saying that your data is wrong because it's obviously not. There is a huge conservative presence on social media, but where else are you guys going to go? And that was the thing. There was the Google thing where they said we're going to stop. Who was it at Google? It was a really high up guy giving a talk.
Wasn't that during like a conference where they were like talking and venting their grievances about Trump?
Post-election, I believe there was a video, but there was also, I believe, a female Google executive. I'm not sure exactly what her title was, but she literally came out and said that they are trying to affect the election.
Was it the Project Veritas?
I know that. Well, maybe again, you are bringing up some things that I honestly have not seen. As far as the Google meeting where they were all talking, I have heard about that, and where they were kind of airing their grievances against Trump. I don't deny that the people running Google are complete libcocks, right? Like everyone kind of knows this, but even if you look at that one instance where they were talking about, not liking Donald Trump or whatever, it was shown later that wasn't a discussion around the algorithm. That wasn't a discussion around how they're operating the site. It was actually just a company meeting where they were just able to sort of air their grievances, which I think is important for, companies to encourage their employees to be open about their politics as well. Again, I think it's more of a nuanced discussion. I don't think that it's as deliberate as many make it out to seem.
Okay. Also, you talked about because it's not the state, it's not necessarily protected by the First Amendment, which is a common thing that I hear from very libertarian people that say, oh, it's a private company, they can do what they want. However, as libertarian as I might be on a number of issues myself, do you not have to acknowledge the fact that when you have these tech giants like Google, I mean, Google is essentially a monopoly, and they're not just search results, but like they are YouTube. They're putting out self-driving cars. They are a massive entity, and now they've merged into Alphabet. So when these tech giants like Google, Facebook, Twitter, they have 90% of their market cornered or more, do you think that they should be held to a higher standard than just say like your local mom and pop's like grocery store in terms of behavior?
I mean, certainly Google is a huge, they control so much information that we all see. So I certainly think they should be held to a higher standard. And again, I do think that Google has a bias that can sometimes affect how information is portrayed. So yes, I think that they should be held to a higher standard. I just don't know if it's necessary, if we necessarily want the government to be the one holding that company to a higher standard.
Yeah, who else is going to do it though, man? Like,
I mean, we can continue putting pressure on the company the way we have when they screw up. I just think that there's not like a lot of the stuff you brought up earlier, kind of to support the claims of censorship. They weren't really very convincing, especially to say that like people are protesting us outside. That I don't think that's any proof of censorship. Like Planned Parenthood
they
gets
didn't
censored
because Donald Trump threatened to pull the funding of the university.
But that wasn't the Penn State issued a statement today. Did you read the statement?
I did.
They support free speech. They support ours coming.
They said they were forced to support free speech, and they denounced us in categoric
They
terms.
did, you're right. They did denounce us,
Yeah.
but they said that they support free speech. I'm not saying we forced them to.
I do think you're being too optimistic, to be honest, because I think that had Donald Trump not leveled this threat on Twitter, then they would have pulled us. I don't think we'd be here without that. You know, I mean, honestly, I think you're way more optimistic than me on this.
I might be more optimistic. I just think that a lot of the evidence that you have invoked to support censorship isn't very convincing.
Well, I mean, I got
say that we're being-
deplatformed from 2 universities before coming to this one.
Right. I mean, and that would be a problem with the university, but this isn't big tech censorship.
No,
which
no,
is
I
more
didn't
what
say.
I was specifically.
Yeah,
focused
yeah,
on.
absolutely.
Again, and I want to make it clear that like I'm not saying conservatives are never censored. I think that there is certainly censorship that goes on as far as on college campuses for conservatives. That's why I tried to make sure that my speech made it very clear that I was referring to big tech censorship alone. So again, I want to make it clear that I don't think that conservatives are never censored in any sphere. But as far as big tech goes, I just don't see it. I see a huge conservative online presence, and I see massive like there was a recent LGBT lawsuit against. I'm sure you've heard about it. I did like a couple videos on it because it was so ridiculous. But there's a big LGBT lawsuit. People suing YouTube, and actually in that lawsuit, they're claiming YouTube is promoting content that's anti-LGBT or that's against them. Because I don't know if you guys have heard of the channel Queer Kids Stuff. It's kind of a smaller channel, but right. So I've done a lot of videos on that channel just debunking that woman's ludicrous claims. And so I have reason to believe that part of this lawsuit, it does have something to do with my repeated content I made on her. But so I mean, you kind of have it from all different sides. Conservatives claim we're being censored, but then on the flip side, a bunch of trans people are claiming, oh no, we're being censored or we're being discriminated against because YouTube is promoting and profiting off videos that are anti-LGBT.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a legitimate claim. But I think Steven Crowder having his entire channel demonetized is a legitimate
Well,
claim.
Steven Crowder didn't violate the community guidelines to get his channel deleted, but he did violate the guidelines when it comes to the monetization policy. Also, when he got his monetization stripped away, he did not have his livelihood stripped. The guy, he's making millions of dollars. I mean, he signed with the Blaze TV.
Sure, but I mean, YouTube came out and said that he did nothing wrong, and
He said he did nothing wrong to warrant being deleted, but he did violate their policy when it came to monetization because he was selling a shirt that said "fag" on it, and which I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
Yeah, and that was after saying that they weren't going to take action.
Right, and I think that. Right. Well, I mean, in all fairness, YouTube may have gone out of their way to find something that they could kind of label as him not following the guidelines as far as for the monetization policy. But you can. Well, who's saying they don't do that to the leftist channels either? I've seen leftist channels that are completely fully demonetized. Who? Name the channel that's completely demonetized? Oh yeah, there's a channel called Vosh. He actually went into his channel and showed how all of his videos are yellow, are demonetized. Again, it's not as cut and dry as a lot of people make it out to be.